What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Mario Time 1000 and it is 3:30 in the morning because my sleep schedule has been completely destroyed. Now, regular viewers of my channel might be confused, and not regular viewers of my channel will also be confused by my last statement. Now, in a previous video, in the IndyCar videos I've been making, I mentioned that I kind of hate mentioning this all the time because I feel like it's like fishing for the sorrow or attention, whatever. I was in a car accident, and I've been a little worried about making an F1 diecast unboxing video because that's like my core video. That's what gets the most views. So I want to make them good, which is odd because I've made, them like how I have. But anyway, I didn't want to do a F1 diecast unboxing while I was in a neck brace still. But you know what? I think it'll be fine. I've not really in pain anymore, so I've still got a NASCAR video I'm gonna do. But I'm going to go ahead and do this F1 diecast unboxing because a lot of people have been waiting patiently, and I'm falling really far behind on these because 2017 or 2019 season is already going well. And I'm pretty sure I covered everything. So, yeah. Anyway, Valtteri Bottas. And finally, yes, finally, I probably should have gotten this out of the way first. We are looking at a Mercedes diecast. One of the most popular F1 teams, obviously the most successful F1 team in the modern era, whatever you decide the modern era is. I should have looked at these very, very early. I did not. That is my fault, but here it is today. It's last year's Mercedes. Valtteri Bottas, obviously not the most famous Mercedes driver, but hey, it is what it is, and we'll get to that particular driver later. He is the world champion, after all. I kind of wish I had both Mercedes. I just haven't been able to find the mini champs. Mercedes for Hamilton. I've only been able to find the Spark, and for the big teams like Mercedes, I want to get the mini champs, not the Spark. Anyway, I'm wasting time. It's 3:30 in the morning after all. Let's take a look at this box real quickly because I'm actually very, very happy. The box is a custom box. I really got to hope the focus is good for this video because it could be a problem. Custom box. We've got Valtteri Bottas' name here and his picture, and we've got the Mercedes logo in the back there, up there. And yeah, mini champs boxes are never really been my favorite. They all kind of had that checkerboard pattern, but a couple of them have had custom boxes this year. I know it was Williams that had one. I don't remember. I think Haas, and what was the other mini champs I got? I have no idea. They had the custom boxes. On the back here, we got the usual blah, blah, blah. Got the Mercedes logo. There's me. My phone covers up the disgusting brace. Yeah, that's the box. Let's take the plastic off here. Really, I've not handled F1 diecast in a little while, so... Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. This plastic bit will not even come off. It's, like, stuck to the car. All right, looks like we are debasing this car first, so I will cut to that. Hopefully it doesn't blow up. Yeah, so this box definitely came apart a lot differently than I expected. The base came off, but the card didn't. It was stuck in the thing. I don't know. I think that's a quality thing. You can see the glue on there. That's something I don't show off anymore very often. That's hopefully a quality thing, and I expect this to be a fairly good quality diecast. Of course, it's a bloody Mercedes because I'm F1 now, so I don't know why the fudge I said that. Never mind. It's a Mercedes. It's one of the most popular diecasts. There's got to be just that little bit more quality in there, and yeah, I'm really excited to look at this. Of course, this is the Mercedes W09 EQ Power Plus, just to get that extra oomph in there. I've been excited about the Mercedes for a while. A long time ago, I was tired of scaring me though. I got to be honest. A long time ago, I did in some of my first F1 diecast unboxings. I looked at Barago Mercedes, and the silver on those cars were just incredible. And I really do like the Mercedes cars, especially the 2019 one, but we'll get into that in the future. But I really like these Mercedes cars. I just never really bought any because, they're expensive and I want to buy for the drivers I like a lot. But yeah, since I'm buying all of them, why not get into it now? Let's get into this now. I just said the same thing twice. Starting off with the front wing, I've had a very, very close look at this car because I've had it for a while. The front wing detail on this car is absolutely, absolutely incredible. Sorry if the car's off to the side of it. I kind of got a halo on my camera. But yeah, the front wing detail on this car is absolutely incredible. Sometimes the videos just do not do it justice. The wing detail on these cars is fantastic. It's painted black here. The spaces between the winglets, it's not like a air pocket or whatever, a gap, which would have been cool, but probably not for this level of detail. We've got Mercedes, Pirelli, and of course Petronas. And I have no idea what the logo above it is, and I can't read it. Is that Tommy? Okay, so I do know what that logo is. Anyway, we got 77, of course. This is Valtteri Bottas. And Petronas again. We've got these tires that are a little bit, they're scaring me a little bit. They wiggle a lot, so I hopefully won't get into that. More incredible detail that it's just really, I'm going to see if this light will, I'm not going to be able to open that. The barge boards down here, absolutely incredible. I got a lot of, maybe I could turn the brightness on my camera up real quickly. That looks ugly, but you can sort of see the barge boards there. The detail on this car is really, really nice. See in the airbox there, tiny airbox or air intake there. But the barge board detail on all these F1 cars have been pretty nice. Mercedes, I expect to have a lot because it's Mercedes. They're the rich guys, the biggest F1 team. These wheels are scaring me. Holy crap. Oh my God. If a wheel comes off, I'm not uploading this video. So if you're seeing this, don't worry, but oh my God. Anyway, the turquoise lines from Petronas going down the side works super well with the silver. They've always had this turquoise stuff. It's gotten better in the last few years. We'll get to the driver detail in a sec. One thing I want to talk about here is this Mercedes logo on the back. This is my only issue with the Mercedes cars, and it's kind of always been like this. This black, the Mercedes logo is white, okay? And the Mercedes AMG blah 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 is white. So they have to put that on the car somewhere, but in order to get you to see it, they have to put this black on here, and it looks better than it did on some of the first Mercedes, but it doesn't look great. It just kind of looks like spray paint on there. I think they did it well this year for the 2019 Mercedes. I don't really remember what that car looks like off the top of my head. I know it looks great, but not particularly able to remember the exact fine details on it. But this one looks a little sloppy. The Petronas logo is also white, so getting it on silver is not easy, but they pulled it off. It doesn't look perfect, but they pulled it off. I think there were a couple Mercedes that did it fairly poorly, and this looks a lot worse, but this one's fairly good. Moving to the back, we have 77, Valtteri Bottas, as I mentioned before. And we have, I think, the largest, I just bumped my camera, I think we got the largest shark fin of any 2018 F1 diecast that I've covered so far, which is fairly interesting. Shark fins, I think, were banned, so they kind of got away with it, and Mercedes probably got away with it a little more, especially after this most recent Canadian Grand Prix. Yeah. The back detailing, of course, we've got the little T-wing here that all the F1 cars sort of had on this season. I can get a lot closer than I am, but not super a lot closer. The focus problems, as always. This, I'll get to the rear. before we look at the top. Rear detail is business as usual. Of course, we've got the rear diffuser detail at the bottom there. I'm holding this fairly not steady. As I mentioned before, it's 3:30 in the morning. The exhaust detail, as always, pretty short, and the light is fairly long, but you got a ton of suspension bits in here. The detail on these, as always, is fantastic, and the Petronas logos are inside the rear wing. All right, we'll look at the top here now. We'll look at a little bit of the top. Very interesting rear end on this car. Some of the cars have gone completely in and they've thinned out on the back. The Haas car sort of bulged back out. This car just sort of straightens out, which is nice when you buy a bunch of diecast for the cars, that they are unique, that teams are able to still design their own cars. It creates a lot of interesting scenarios. Sorry. Yeah, my back's hurting a little bit from this, but it should be fine. I'm right. This side is, of course, the same. Let's see if we can get in now on what everyone loves, the halo. Everybody loves the halo. Interestingly, though, and I was actually surprised by this, Mercedes didn't really do anything with their halo. It is black and it has no winglets on it, which is interesting. I really find that interesting. I know this year it is silver and it has, or red at Monaco, and it has a winglet on it, but nothing there, which is very, very interesting. Driver detail, you can actually see it this time around because his suit is white and his belts and gloves are blue. Always gotta love the driver detail on it. Wow, even the Monster Energy logo is on this. I don't think it's going to focus on that. Tiny little helmet, and they still got all the logos on it. And the steering wheel is also detailed. You probably won't be able to see that. This is a fairly fantastic diecast. Obviously, at 3:30 in the morning, you appreciate things more for some reason. It's not particularly better than any of the former diecasts, but I don't know. I guess because it's a Mercedes, it just seems a little bit better, which I guess makes sense. Great diecast. Of course, we got the little radio antennas though that have given me trouble in the past. It's a shame I didn't. It's a shame I didn't look at Mercedes earlier, but I probably would have ruined the whole series had I looked at them first. Because of course, Mercedes have the most money, so they're gonna have the most bits and bobs on their car, and in diecast form, that's just gonna look great. Even got some details on the floor. Of course, it's not a Spark, so the floor is a lot better than the last diecast I reviewed. Yeah, no, this is a great diecast. I really am glad that I looked at this one. I'm gonna have to do it all again when I get to Hamilton. Now we get to everyone's favorite part of the videos. The diecast review is over, and it's time to do a season recap on the driver or team we are looking at. Now, I don't have the team. Obviously, I'm missing Hamilton, but doing a think back on the team, a retrospective, if you will, of the team is not hard with Mercedes because they're OP and win all the time. So I will say exactly that when we get the other one. So just look at Bottas' season. Hate saying his name because the British people always say it differently, but I think his season wasn't great in 2018. A lot of people will talk about that forever, I think. Some people say he doesn't deserve to have this ride anymore. I certainly will agree with that his season wasn't great. He had, especially toward the end of the season, he had some pretty crappy runs. He finished 5th a lot, which isn't bad, but you're in a Mercedes, so you should be winning. But keep in mind, Ferrari had a better car, and Hamilton won the championship. But keep in mind, Hamilton is a 5-time world champion. Hamilton is the best driver out of this era. So saying, oh, well, you can't win in that. I mean, you should win in it, but comparing it to Hamilton is probably a little bit unfair, but he's his teammate at the same time. So it's F1. It's kind of a catch-22. Anyway, fairly mediocre end of the season, but I think a lot of people forget the start of his season. I mean, the very start of his season was crap because he crashed in Australia, but uh, did bad in the race. But after that, we had Bahrain, which he finished second and almost passed Vettel on the last lap of the race. And considering Ferrari had a better car, in most people's opinions, including mine, for 2018, that was a very great run, and he could have sealed the deal on the last lap, you know? In China, he also almost could have won. He, of course, had bad pit strategy, and the tires didn't work for him, so he finished second to Daniel Ricciardo. And then in Baku, it was, again, the tires, but this time it wasn't pit strategy. It was just the tires giving up on him. And he didn't win that race when he almost did. So he could have had 3 wins there. And if he had 3 wins in a row, no one would be talking about, oh, his bad season. And he probably would have had more confidence too. So it would have been an all around pretty solid season. After those 3 defeats, though, he sort of fell back. Hamilton wasn't great in the championship to begin at the beginning of the season, but Hamilton eventually extended his points gap. He fought with Vettel, and Bottas sort of got left behind. He had a few good runs still. Austria, he got the pole. Maybe could have won. Obviously, he didn't have a great start, and Raikkonen kind of pushed him out of the way. And then that engine failure, so he didn't get any points. And then, of course, he had the crash the week before in France. And then Russia. The less we say about Russia, the better. All around, it made it out to be a pretty bad season, and I think it was a bad season. People have bad seasons. I think a lot of people have been a little bit foolish talking about Bottas as if he was the worst driver ever. Yes, he did not win in a Mercedes that year, but Mercedes didn't have the best car, and Bottas did not have the best luck, and he maybe could have won 5 races had he had the best luck. I think a lot of people are talking a lot of dumb stuff when they talk about Bottas last season, as if Ferrari didn't do the same stuff back in the early 2000s, like holding up other drivers, as if Ferrari didn't do that last year with Raikkonen all the time, and this year too. And also the whole switcheroo thing, being the wingman, like Rubens Barrichello never had to switch with Schumacher at worst times, Austria 2002. I think a lot of people talk a lot worse about Bottas's last season than they should. It still wasn't a good season, but I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people are making it out to be. I'm not trying to say it was good. It's certainly he certainly need to step up because he's driving for Mercedes, but a lot of people are just being dumb about it. And he did step up. He's already won 2 races. He's finished second a bunch of times. Up until Canada, he'd been on the podium in every race. Is he better than Ocon? I don't know, and we don't know. But he doesn't deserve to lose his seat if he drives like how he's driving this year. So it'll be interesting. And definitely, I don't think a driver like Bottas deserves to lose his seat or the reason I say that is because where is he going to go? Like, is he going to go back to Williams? That's bad. I don't know. He's a race winner. He's definitely a good driver. Is he as good as Hamilton? Certainly not. Is he as good as Vettel? Certainly not. Is he going to perform as good as Hamilton? No. But he's still a good driver, and will he ever win a championship? I don't know. I hope all that made sense, because as I said before, it's 3 a.m. I feel like I'm talking stupid fast. So I apologize for that if you guys had to shut the video off because of that. But no, one thing I didn't mention that I do like about this diecast, these tires are crazy, dude. The car, it's sort of like the Williams. The car sort of folds back on the bottom here. It's a very thin piece right here. The car is fairly level on the outside, and then it just caves in on itself under here. That doesn't make any sense at all, but it's got space down here. It looks funky, which is very cool. Gotta love the fact that teams can still build all their cars, which is not an IndyCar thing. Just in case you guys thought I liked IndyCar more than F1 now, which, I don't know, debatable sometimes. Huh? I went to the Indy 500 and not the Monaco Grand Prix after all. But, yeah, that's the Mercedes car. Very, very good. This does not mean white power. Oh, that was not a good idea to say. Very, very, very good diecast. Probably one of the best that I've gotten. It's not my favorite livery, but it looks fantastic in diecast form. So let us look at all of our 2018 F1 diecasts, and then we will wrap the video up. Here is our newest F1 car on the grid. We're starting to have a competitive grid, now? Now Ferrari won't win every single race. I have no idea what order I have these cars in right now. I'd say it's by championship points, but it isn't because Sorokin is right here. And yes, I actually remembered to put the Sauber in this video because I completely forgot it in the last video. Kind of sucks that it took me 10 cars before the Mercedes. This is the 11th car I'm looking at, but better late than never. And it's still a fantastic looking car. Now, I already have plans for the next review I'm doing, which will be a team we have not previously looked at. But can you believe we only got 3 teams I haven't done a diecast video on yet? Force India, Renault, and Red Bull. So one of those 3 teams will be the topic of the next video, and I will be looking at both drivers. But yeah, absolutely nice looking at these cars. If you have any additional suggestions for any other team or driver besides Lewis Hamilton, because I have a plan for that, be sure to leave it in the comments. I will get to whoever's the first person to say a driver or team. I will do the video after the next video on that driver or team, I guess. But yeah, this looks great. I haven't done a whole shot with all of them in there. It's kind of difficult. But yeah, we've got 11 of the 20 cars on the grid. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to subscribe for the future F1 cars. I know 2018 is last year's news, but it's still cool to see. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video, which will be a NASCAR video. So sorry, everyone. See you then.